for example, with this pharmacy solution, that we've turned the drug making into this McDonald's problem, and now we have all these millions of customers that don't have drugs that they need, or there's this huge drug addiction problem, and it's this huge void in the market that needs to be filled. So here comes the free market to solve the problem, and that's Shalom Pharmacy. Or this next interview that I have with Live ESQ CEO Andro Samuel, and he's going to talk about their traffic stop app, which is solving the problem that we are having now that's creating so much civic unrest, whether it's in Charlotte or Minnesota or Dallas. People are dying, and we are having major issues now, dying on both sides. Police are being targeted, and our citizens are dying, and a lot of this is just simply communication problems at the source, at the traffic stop. This is a very innovative approach, and it'll be really fun to see how this plays out because it's highly political, but it's legal, and the free market system coming in and doing something that we need to solve a problem. So we'll see when something is very political but legal and the community is driving it and the free market's driving it. Are they going to allow it to flourish? Is the political system going to kill it somehow, even though it's legal? Well, they shouldn't. The free market, the community is driving this. So I'm bringing on Andro Samuel now to talk about the traffic stop app that they have.
Hi, Andro. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Miss Sarah. Thank you for having me on.
Well, you have this interesting, what is your application called?
It's the Traffic Stop app by Live ESQ.
Yeah, and it's a justice-based system. What does your software application do?
Okay, well, the Traffic Stop app by Live ESQ, it's a mobile application that's going to be available for both iOS and Android devices that immediately, with just a click of a button, connects drivers with attorneys the moment they get pulled over. And the application, the unique feature about it is that you're connected with a local attorney who will actually watch the entire encounter through video using your phone's camera. And throughout the process, will monitor the officer's actions and also assist them throughohout the encounter.
And will they assist you as well to make sure that you do what you should be doing? Like when you first get on there, make sure that you get you are very polite, you're respectful, do what they tell you to do. Absolutely.
The premise behind the application is to ensure that if there's any predisposition to bias that the officer may potentially exhibit during the encounter, we believe that would be eliminated as soon as there's a third party who understands the laws in that municipality and obviously in that state, who would be able to ensure or put the officer in a position where he would be forced to follow procedure objectively.
Well, it's easy to use, what you're saying. Is it free for the drivers?
It's 100% free. And, Ms. Sarah, that's a very interesting question. We believe Live ESQ's Traffic Stop app is probably the simplest application on the market to be used because all it takes to initiate it is just one click of a button.
Well, are the lawyers free? How are you getting all these lawyers to do it?
Sure. Well, there's an incentive on the back end for the attorneys. It's an opportunity for attorneys, to meet more people. The attorneys are going to be providing the service for absolutely for free, no cost whatsoever to the driver during the encounter. So, for example, if you get pulled over and you receive a ticket for speeding, for example, and the attorney's present, what would happen after the call is you have an opportunity to schedule an appointment with that attorney to then be able to assist you in court. But anything prior to him representing you in court after the interaction is completely free.
Excellent. So why did you put this out for the public to use? I think that's the question.
Sure. There are many answers to that question. First of all, as we both know, poverty seems to play a big role in justice in this country. And what we wanted to do was, create something that would be able to be utilized by the majority of people, because the majority of people have smartphones, where they would be able to connect with an attorney anytime they meet an officer. And the reason for that is because we see that, there are, it all comes down to how the laws are being applied. And we believe that having a third party there would put the officer in a position where he's forced to be objective. And that would definitely, be a benefit to those who use the application.
Well, do you see a major problem now? Is that what it's kind of spurring this? Is what's going on?
Absolutely. We see, 2016 has brought us an abundance of examples. we see many traffic stops, unfortunately, turn into homicide investigations. And the main push behind it is that, there have been communities all throughout this country that have been fighting to have body camera legislation passed that would force the officer to, be equipped with those cameras at all times. So because of the opposition to having such a device carried by all officers, they haven't been able to get it passed. So what we've done is created a system where they can circumvent the government and implement the change that they want for themselves.
Interesting. I'm from Minneapolis, and as you're aware, there was a big incident here where his girlfriend actually videotaped the person dying in a traffic stop. Do you foresee a lawyer really helping a situation like that? It could have kept the situation from escalating to where it escalated to. Possibly.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, we feel that it may have had an impact on that situation. And the reason for that is because, first of all, when somebody initiates the application, what that will indicate to the officer is that person most likely doesn't have any malice or malicious intent on their mind, because they've summoned an application that's going to record every action that they take. So it could be a small piece to peace of mind on the officer's part. But also, in that situation specifically, in general, there are certain procedures that people that carry weapons have to take anytime they get pulled over. There's a certain way to present the documents. And perhaps having an attorney present who would have assisted the driver, he may have put the person in a better position to present this issue to the officer rather than the way that it went.
Yeah, I understand that. We just had a conversation about this yesterday, and the driver didn't necessarily present to the officer it correctly, but the driver was a victim in a couple ways, because the officer just got a call in that there was a shooting in the area with the description of the guy that was actually driving the car, very close, right? Yeah. And so when he said he had a gun, it really scared him. And he also, the other thing about the officer is he just got done with this long training where he was going through, from what I understand, he was going through this training where he saw a lot of people of the Somalian, that background committing crimes. So he was in the absolute wrong state to be able to stop him under the wrong circumstances. And this poor driver was a victim of that. And then if he didn't handle everything properly, it turned out to what it turned out to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was an absolute tragedy. And just like you just mentioned, I mean, there were other variables, in that equation that put, that caused the situation to result in the way that it did. Again, it all comes down to compliance. And what we want to, make extremely clear is that our application isn't designed, to get you out of a situation that if you've done wrong, there are consequences for your actions. The point of the application is to make sure that the way that the laws apply to you is objective. And also, in situations like this, the attorney would be able to advise you on how to handle, the presentation of documents. And, as you see, the lady, his girlfriend that was in the vehicle, felt the need to live stream the encounter, and you can see the way the officer was, dealing with her while the camera was on. One thing we can speculate on, but, with pretty good, information on the background, is that, if she did not have the camera on, she may also have had other issues. Even with the camera on, they arrested her afterwards. They brought her out of court.
Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, it was a major issue, and so.
But he was dying there in the front seat, and maybe an attorney would say, okay, there might be issues here, but we need to deal with this person that's dying. Let's get him help immediately.
Absolutely.
And it would have been a third party with more of a rational ability to,
Absolutely. I really believe, especially in this situation, especially with, all the things you discussed, how the officer, the officers, last couple of hours prior to the encounter. I believe that, first of all, it takes brand recognition. So they have to understand what live VSQ is. But once they understand what live VSQ is, again, it plays a subconscious role in how the officer views the encounter. Because again, somebody who's going to do something wrong, would not initiate an application that's going to record and stream the recording to a private server, which it's stored forever. So, it would have played a huge role in how that encounter would have played out. And it's an unfortunate.
Well, it's like going to church. You're just at your best behavior when you're in church, right? Because you feel people are watching you, or you just think it's the right thing to do. Exactly. And so if you have an attorney present, you're just going to be, dotting your I's and crossing your T's, making sure you don't, blur the line between what's okay and not okay.
We need to take a short break, and we'll be back with Andro Samuel in a few minutes.
Take us with you on that morning commute. Download your favorite podcast from the Transformation Radio Network. Just visit transformationradio.fm.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in to Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Brand consultant and coach Jen Morgan is here with Radically Distinct Radio to help maximize your brand's power to produce results. Whether you're a person with a dream and unsure where to start, or a CEO of a successful company wondering what's next, Jen Morgan and the RAD method empowers you to play to your strengths and focus your competitive edge so you can show up in the world as your most powerful brand. Go to jenmorgan.com or call 206-972-5366.
Would you like to experience life-transforming adventures in personal expansion and world service? If you do, tune in to learn about magical innate abilities that you can develop and use to make your dreams come true. Joy Elaine is author of the Joy Chronicles, and she's inviting you and millions of others to join her in working with galactic masters, angels, and the Ashtar Command as they assist humanity and planet Earth to achieve their ultimate destination of ascension. For more information about this upcoming event and broadcast, visit joyelaine.com. That's joy, ELAINE.com.
And we are back to Business Game Changers. I'm Sarah Westall. And I want to remind you that you can hear this show every Monday, 3 p.m. on WBLQ AM, one of the only stereo AM channels on the whole East Coast. And it plays in New York, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. And then it also streams live on Transformation Talk Radio at the same time. And many other stations also stream it live digitally. And then you can hear it on podcast on over 90 plus channels, including iTunes and all your favorite podcast channels. And Transformation Talk Radio now plays it 7 days a week. So you are sure to find it at your favorite time slot as well. So let's now get back to our interview with Andro Samuel.
So are you expecting pushback from communities? I mean, because this could be more not the people as much as like the federal, local governments, and maybe the police forces. What do you think? I mean, I would assume some would be really, would like this, and others wouldn't. So what are you expecting? It'll be interesting.
Sure. There are a couple components to that question. First of all, I'll give you a quick example here, Sarah. It's like if you run a business and you have the same person for many years counting the money at the end of the day, and all of a sudden you come to that person, you say, listen, I'm going to have an auditor, sit there and watch you every single day, count the money. If that person gets nervous or hesitates or opposes, that change, then that there's an urgent necessity to get the auditor in there immediately. So the fact that there will be opposition from, perhaps federal and local governments, it's just another indication of the urgency of the application. But on the other hand, we do believe communities will rally behind us. because at the very minimum, it's a tool for them to utilize at any time whenever they feel, they need a third party to assist them.
So basically, the communities that give you the most pushback are the ones that you have to be the most worried about?
Exactly. That's absolutely right.
Okay, well, what are you doing that you're worried about this?
Exactly.
That's great. That's a good way to look at it.